Hello, church family. It's 2-Minute Tuesday. This summer, in addition to the 2-minute videos on Tuesdays, I'll be sending out a midweek meditation. So on Wednesdays, check your inboxes for a brief written meditation that follows up the theme of the Tuesday video. This week, I'm reflecting on the way in which the division of our culture has made its way into the church. Right now, it seems as though Christians in our culture fall into one of two camps. At the traditional end of the spectrum, you have Christians who are champions of righteousness. At the progressive end of the spectrum, you have Christians who are champions of justice. The Bible makes no such distinction, nor does it allow for such division within the body of Christ. Jesus tells us that if we belong to Him, we are champions both of righteousness and justice. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, "Unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." In other words, Jesus says, you can't really consider yourself saved if God's law hasn't permeated every aspect of your life. Jesus goes on to say that at the end of time, He'll say, "Depart from me, you cursed, for I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you did not welcome me, naked and you did not clothe me, sick and in prison and you did not visit me." In other words, Jesus says that you can't consider yourself saved unless you are a champion of social justice and an agent of mercy. Now, when we gravitate either toward righteousness or justice, what we're really doing is pulling apart the Christian life and choosing the sides of it that are easiest for us or come most naturally to us. In the process, basically, we create our own standard for salvation. We use it to try and justify ourselves before God, and we turn on each other and use our basis for salvation as a reason for condemning one another. Now, Jesus confronts us in this and He says, look, the business of justification, proving you right before God, that's actually something that's impossible for you. That's my job. Jesus then turns to us and says, but here's your job. He spells it out in John 15, where He says to His disciples, I am the vine, you are the branches. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. We tend to treat justice or righteousness as fruit that we have to bear by our own efforts. Jesus says, actually, you can't do either of those things perfectly. They have to be a function of my life in you. Therefore, says Jesus, your main job is to remain in me. Our true calling and our first objective as Christians is to get connected to Jesus and stay connected to Jesus. Now, when we do this, we discover three things. First, personal righteousness and morality becomes possible. Second, social justice becomes attainable. And third, the more connected we are to Jesus, the more connected we become to one another as members of His body.